right, so today we're going to work on the electrics. But don't take how I wire things as being up to code. And in other words, you DIY your electric at your own risk. I'm not responsible if you hook something up incorrectly. Today I have a big dilemma. When I put this system together, I really didn't understand what all I was doing, right? And I wanted to do it as inexpensively as possible. And these conduits are perfectly legal, perfectly fine. Even this low voltage wiring is fine the way it is. I should have it covered, but other reasons. But it's wired correctly, folks. It's not going to start any fires. The wires aren't undersized. As you can see, I use big old honking wires up in my panel, and I use number 6 and number 8 here to go to the inverter. So it's all safe, but the way I may do it, in other words, this conduit may not be legal where you are, right? I know where I am, we're supposed to also have this kind of wire, which is high voltage DC coming in from the solar panels. We're supposed to have that inside conduit anytime it comes in the house. I haven't done that. Okay, so I'm in violation. So don't, like I said, don't take the way I wire things as to be in code, because they're probably not. Today the big deal is I don't have a way to switch over my critical loads feed, which is a 40 amp breaker coming from my Victron 48 volt multi plus 2 5000 VA 70 amp inverter. This is the power that it sends out, and then it goes over to by a 40 amp breaker over to the other side of the house, over to my critical loads. But right now, if the grid power fails and it goes on to solar, that's fine. But if I need to take the solar down, I have no way to switch this panel over to grid power. You follow me? So all of my stuff in the house will be turned off while I'm working on the Victron system. So a few years ago, or a year ago, I found online, or somebody sent me, an automatic transfer switch. Now these aren't well known in the US. In fact, I don't even know if they're legal to use. But this is basically, it's two breakers. There's a double pole breaker in here and a double pole breaker in here. And what happens is there's a little servo motor, and it detects where your power is. So let's see. So if I turn the grid power on, you see what it does? How it turns it automatically? Okay, because normally when power is on, it should be pointing at the solar. I've got this flipped. Normally you would have it on grid, and when the grid failed, it would fail over to solar. I've got mine flipped the other way. And then you share a common neutral, okay, because these are the output sides of the breakers, and they're not internally wired anywhere. So you got to wire, you got to jump from this output to this output. It's very, very strange the way they do it, but it's the way it works. So I'll need to take a cable to go from here up to then feed this panel. So this connector will come off. This will come in as a power source down here, and then go out as a power source out here and also out here, because there's no way these two breakers can possibly be turned on at the same time unless you're going to take these covers off and force them. So you won't be feeding both grid power and solar power, inverter power, to the critical loads panel. And so, this actually doesn't even need to be a panel, really. This should have just been a simple, switch over to the other side of the house. But, live and learn, right? So today, what I've got to do is, I don't have this in a little conduit holder or anything like that, and it's kind of janky. So I want to get it fixed, and then I want to hook in this Victron to this, perhaps slightly illegal device, I don't know. It's got no UL listing. Why not just chance my whole house to this device? No, I'm sure there's, it's got certified breakers in it. So the only thing that could happen is the servo motor could fail. But then I have the option of just turning it manually like that, and you can hear it flipping the breakers. So you can put it on manual, you can put it on automatic, so that when I do have power, it's going to wait for me to flip it over. It's not going to do it automatically. So anyway, please, don't, if you're not familiar with electrical work, hire an electrician. Don't be stupid. All right, so I've also turned on so we're running completely off solar now and battery. So these got about 40 amps flowing through these batteries, powering this and this. In fact, I need to go ahead and turn my mini splits off. They don't need to be on right now. Drawing power. So that kills it to the one side of the house, and this kills the one in my office. This is for anything connected up there. I don't want to turn that off because my Wi-Fi or my fiber is hooked up to that. These are the loads coming from the Victron, so this is the feed that goes back over to the other side of the house. This is a 20 amp breaker coming down providing power here. I hope all this is understood. So the first thing I need to do is I'm going to make sure we don't have any voltage coming into this panel anymore. So no voltage, no high voltage I need to be concerned about. So I'm going to go ahead and then I'm going to flip off. This is the feeder breaker for the AC to the EG4. This is going to be the feeder for the crossover switch. This is the feeder for going over to the 24 volt system for the rack. And this is the 40 amp feeder for this Victron right here. So now I've killed all the power. So now the next thing I want to do is I want to disconnect this breaker and these wires I have hooked up, because I need to re-maneuver them and make them safer. So let me get that done next. This ought to be fun. Oi. Oh yeah, I got the ground too. Here we go. I should be cheap. And I am. That's the problem. Am I going to have long enough cables? I should have, man. I should have. Okay. The one thing I didn't get one of those little tools to do the lock nuts on these conduit strain relief thingies, whatever the hell they call them. I always have such trouble getting the nuts started on these. There it goes. Gonna need our we'll do that after we get the cable in there. So we got a bit of a turn. I don't want that. Let's get it back the way it was. There we go. There we go. All right, now tighten this up down here slowly. That's in there nice and tight. Not too tight, but tight like a tiger. And then this can be tightened down just a wee bit more. Alright, so now, next thing to do is get our neutral hooked up. And that's going to need to come in. Oh man, I want to do it behind these. But that's going to be difficult because they go each and every way, and then they come up like this, and then they can go into there. Let's get our pliers, get this in there. Yeah. Here's what we'll do. Put this back on. I think that's all it'll go up. That's it. I don't think it'll go in anymore, no matter what I do. Yeah, it's in all the way. There we go. Okay, now oh. Okay, I think we're ready to turn the power back on. Yeah. I'll tell you what we'll do though. Let's put this cover back on as well. switch. Alrighty, so no power, right? Okay, so you should be off of here now. Should be able to get you out of here. Ow! Got a piece of wire. At least a couple feet long, if not longer. Needs to be at least this long. So what I want to do is feed it up through here. high enough. Hook this one up now. This one needs to go like that. Shave this thing open. Gently. Gently. Slowly. Gently. To there. Alright. Ta-da! Okay. If I've done my job, all I should have to do is come over here and turn off the multi+2, and it fails over very quickly. And so now we're back on grid power. If I turn the inverter back on, over here, so flip it forward to on, and it switches back over to power through the inverter. So just like it was designed, that automatic transfer switch is working. Alright, now, so this panel once again is live, so need to be a little bit careful and get the covers back on, make sure there's nothing going to be shorting out. Why this wouldn't go on? Oh, that's up there because we're not even using that. Oh my goodness. Just, you know, kind of go on there and pretend like you belong. Get this cover back on. This is a load off my mind because I've had a Victron failure. That little bad boy right there, and it makes you start to worry, you know. And I know it's going to fail again. It's from the same serial number, same series. So I need to relabel these because this 243000 is wrong. That's over here on number 5, and the 40 goes to, you know, supply power. So I think I'm done in here with that. And now I can move on to the next project of the day that I had scheduled. It appears I got the little Chingadera working. We're about to test it. So, no magic smoke, nothing came out. So, I've got a 40 amp breaker supplying power through this cable down to this side of the breaker. So, right now, the power is going to the inside. The inside is here, normal. Normal is right here. This is the normal power, and that comes over from this Victron inverter. So when the Victron is putting out AC voltage, this switch keeps this cable engaged with current, with electricity, to feed the rest of the house and then to feed this plug here. So in the event that I have to take the inverter offline for whatever reason, or say the inverter stops working for whatever reason, hopefully, if I've done my job, all I should have to do is come over here and turn off the multi+2, and it fails over very quickly. And so now we're back on grid power. And yeah, it doesn't have a real quick, I wouldn't put computers on it, but look, everything else seems to be doing okay for that momentary. And keep in mind, I got all this stuff running, my refrigerators, I got everything running on here. I don't know what that beeping is. Oh, I do. I know what that is. And, it's working fine. So now, in theory, If I turn the inverter back on, over here, so flip it forward to on, and it switches back over to power through the inverter. So just like it was designed, that automatic transfer switch is working. I have used 8-gauge cable, which is rated. There we go. And now the inverter is back on mains power. So yeah, it's successful. I just need to get this panel back on and relabel some of the breakers so that I know where they are. And now, in the event that I need to do work on the inverter, on the Victron system, I can have it stop providing the house with power and just go directly off grid. Again, this is limited to a 40 amp breaker. The house never pulls more than about 30 amps at any one time. I don't have a lot of stuff going on there. So all right, let's get this cover back on and make it safe, and we'll move on from there.
I've been watching old Unky Joe, from Texas heat to where the cacti grow, fixing server solar power in the land, hoping that his plans all stand, making life a touch more bright underneath those sun